Hi Stitchy friends, and welcome to my Flosstube channel. My name is Kenzie from Mud Puppy Stitchery. I am a cross-stitch designer, I am a bird nerd and a wildlife lover, and I enjoy doing all of the crafty things. So if you're new, welcome. I hope you like what you see and that you'll continue to follow up with me on all of my future videos. And for my current subscribers, thank you so very much for your continued support. I greatly appreciate it. So I hope everybody has been well. It's been very busy for me since my last catch-up video. We celebrated 3 birthdays on my family side and 1 birthday on TJ's side of the family, so lots of celebrations and presents. And the weather here in Minnesota has been constant rain, with a few really hot and humid days in between. So it's been really frustrating because I feel like we've basically barely had a summer yet. But there is a huge amount of flooding, but luckily the last week or so we're starting to finally see some sunny, like 80, 85 degree days instead of constant storms. Work has been extremely busy for me because we have been planning a huge retreat in August, and I am also going to be helping to submit some manuscripts to scientific journals, so that's a new process for me. So it's been pretty exhausting, and to be honest, I kind of lost my stitchy bug for about 3 weeks or so, and I was way more focused on crochet, and I actually got quite a lot of things accomplished. But luckily the stitchy cross stitch bug came back, and my needle has been flying ever since. So I was able to put out a vlog style tutorial video end of June, and I thought that turned out pretty well. So I was really happy with how it ended up turning out. It was an insane amount of filming and editing and writing the script, especially for such a short video, but I hope you enjoyed it and appreciated the work that was put into it. I try really hard to make interesting and well thought out videos with lots of cool edits, so it does take me a lot longer to put out more videos, but hopefully people will enjoy more quality over quantity. But if you do have any video suggestions or ideas, I would love to hear them, and make sure to leave a comment down below. So first I'd like to start out with some of my crochet finishes, which I have a couple. So this yarn was originally meant for a cardigan, but I ended up giving up on that and started a skirt pattern a while ago instead. So I followed a video tutorial from AC Crochets here on YouTube, and I'll make sure to link her down below and in a card above as well. Her tutorials are amazing, and I highly suggest that you check her out. So this was definitely an experiment because I had never completed something with like fitting and shaping included within the pattern, but it was really fun and I got the hang of it. So I ended up finishing it on May 25th, and surprisingly it actually fits and it's actually quite cute. I think this would be a fantastic swimsuit cover-up, or if you'd like to wear it out and about, I have it paired here with like nude colored shorts underneath. So really fun, really unique, and I'm glad I powered through and finished it. And I seem to really lag on projects when I'm not sure whether they're going to turn out or going to fit, just because it seems like it's such a waste of time and effort in the end if it's not actually wearable. But I'm trying to get out of that mindset and see it more as an experiment and me practicing and my skills and gaining more skills along the way, even if it doesn't work out. So usually by the end, I'll have an idea of what I could have tweaked and with the pattern basically to make sure that it fits better, and then I will be able to set it up for success for the next time that I try out the pattern. The pattern really isn't for a high-low skirt, but that's kind of how it turned out, and I actually kind of like how that looks. So for this yarn, this was stitched using a 6mm hook on a Lion brand yarn a Pound of Love in the color Fern, which I love this color. And after washing it, it became so darn soft. So definitely going to be using more of this yarn in the future. I love it. So after this exciting finish, I was eager to start a new crochet whip. And so I started a tank top pattern the same day that I finished the skirt. And I think it took less than a week to finish it, and it was super fun to stitch up. So this was also another crochet video tutorial from AC Crochets, and I'll of course link it down below and put it in a card above. This was stitched using a 5mm hook using Lion brand anti-pilling yarn in the color Russet Heather. So it was really fun, really easy, and like I said before, just a complete experiment. So the front turned out really cute, but my idea with the button closures on the back didn't really work out very well, unfortunately. So it does not look that great, but that's okay. What happened was that I didn't account for the yarn stretching so much, and so it ended up being much bigger than what I needed. And so in order for me to fit it properly, I needed to overlap portions in the back. But again, this is just an experiment, and luckily the yarn was not too expensive. So I'm happy that I gave it a shot, and I don't think it turned out too shabby. So my last crochet finish was another block done on what I'm calling my favorite colors blanket that I started in December. And I was able to finish this really pretty block, and I almost finished a second block as well. I definitely need to weave in all the ends. But yeah, so now I have 7 out of the 9 blocks that I needed to complete this blanket, which is really, really exciting. And I am doing a mottled cream yarn kind of around the outside of each block. And then once I piece all 9 of the blocks together, I'll do another couple rounds around the outside border to really pull it all together. So this has been super fun, super easy, and really relaxing because it's just granny squares and it comes together really quickly. And I'm hoping the next time that you see this, or you see an update video from me, that this blanket will be complete and ready to be displayed on my bed. So I will most definitely be starting another one of these because it is so much fun to have one of these on the go at all times, and I can pick it up whenever I need a break from cross stitching. All right, so that was the last of my crochet finishes. Before we head into the cross stitching, I'd like to move on to a section I like to call Wildlife Minute, where I give a little talk on wildlife, biology, animals, or anything that strikes my fancy. So hopefully you'll learn something new and it will encourage you to take a deeper dive into the wonders of the natural world. But if you're just here for the crafty stuff, feel free to hop to this time point. So if you've been following me along on my previous videos, you know that we've been following up on 2 live bird cams. One is a peregrine falcon live cam on top of the Mayo Clinic building, and another live bald eagle cam is down in Decorah, Iowa. Now, these are really neat to have on during this time of the year because you get to watch the eggs hatch into helpless little altricial young, and very quickly they grow into adult-sized raptors ready to take their first flight. So let's first catch up with our young eaglet friends and take a look back on where they started from. The 2 chicks in the Decorah, Iowa nest hatched on March 24th and March 25th, and it only takes about 10 to 12 weeks, or until about mid-June, for them to grow to full size. So they started out small and adorable with white downy feathers covering their whole body, and they grew into the very ugly but kind of adorable tween stage, where their outside body feathers started filling in. And eventually they were fully covered in dark feathers, with their wing feathers slightly longer than their parents, because they needed that extra length to help them get used to flying. So we watch these two chicks flap their wings and start strengthening their muscles, and eventually starting to hop onto other branches outside of the nest to prepare themselves for their first flight. And everything was going well until June 16th when something crazy happened. Remember when I was saying that we've been getting an insane amount of rain this past month and a half? Well, the rain completely waterlogged the nest, and on June 16th, the supporting branch broke and the entire nest fell to the ground. Now, just so you know, the chicks are okay, but it is really absolutely incredible to watch this because these nests usually weigh a couple tons, and the adult eagles add about 1 to 2 feet of nest per year, so it just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And luckily, the eaglets were just about to fledge, or just about to take their first flight, and so they were able to glide away unharmed. So I can imagine if those eaglets were any younger, they probably wouldn't have survived that crash. So just absolutely insane. And I'll have the video of the nest crash down below and linked in a card above as well. So again, everyone is okay. Mom and Dad have found the chicks and they are doing just fine. So we got really lucky. But unfortunately, this means that there might not be a Decorah North eagle cam nest next year because the eagle couple would have to completely rebuild from scratch, which is a good possibility. So we shall have to wait until next year and see. The next live bird cam that we've been keeping an eye on has been the peregrine falcon live cam in a man-made nest box that's on top of the main Mayo Clinic building. And as I've explained before in previous videos, it initially seems really odd that there would be a nest box in the middle of the city, right? But peregrines actually nest on extremely high cliffs and mountainsides. And so a high-rise building really isn't that out of the ordinary from what they're used to. And the nest box was built to help increase peregrine falcons' population, and it also helps with keeping pigeon and crow populations in check because falcons mainly eat other birds. The first of 4 eggs was laid by March 20th, and it takes about a month until they are ready to hatch. And all 4 of the eggs were hatched by May 2nd, but unfortunately on May 8th, one of the young chicks passed away unexpectedly. So similar to the eaglets, the falcon chicks are covered in fluffy down feathers, and it takes about 5 to 6 weeks until they are considered full size. On May 20th, that was an extremely exciting day because all 3 of the chicks were banded by professional falconers working with Mayo Clinic, and they were able to find out that all 3 are very large and very healthy females. So they were given the names Heritage, Onyx, and Adira. And it's really interesting from this photo. You can see that all 3 of the chicks had a huge meal prior to being banded because of how big their crop is. Now, the crop is basically an expandable storage sac that's attached to their throat, and so food gets stored there first before it's pushed down into their stomach later. So you can kind of think of it as their own personal lunchbox that they carry around with them at all times. So by mid-June, they were ready to start taking their first flight, and they're usually still with their parents for another 4 to 8 weeks before taking on the world by themselves. So overall, it's been an extremely exciting and very successful nesting season, and I hope that you've really enjoyed the live bird cam updates over the past 6 months. So this will be the last live cam update of the season until it starts up again in late January. So in the meantime, please let me know down below in the comments what types of birds or any animals in general you'd like to learn a little bit more about and that I can focus on in my upcoming Wildlife Minutes. So who knows, your suggestion might be featured in the next video. So thanks for watching, and let's get back to the stitching. All right, so my first whip was Jane Atkinson, and I was basically able to get a page finish on her, which I am super, super happy about. And I am really, really enjoying this, and I think the colors are turning out just stunning. So it's been a piece that has been really hard to put down, that is for sure. I really want to be able to sketch out the cartouche so I can kind of get an idea on the overall size of the piece, and so I can start redesigning some of the words on there. And I am planning on putting some song lyrics from the Prince of Egypt that are really meaningful to me. And I am thinking they might have to be 1/1. So this might be a little bit of a challenge because I'm working on Ada, but I'm sure I can manage it. I probably should have learned how to stitch on even weave first before going out and starting this piece, but 18 count Ada is where my comfort spot is, and I just really love how this is turning out. But we'll see. I need to pull this up on my stitching software and see what's going to fit and what's not going to fit. But this was started March 31st of this year on Easter Day on 18 count Picture This Plus vellum. And I had a couple really neat ideas from viewers on my Flosstube number 17, and I really wanted to share them here. So I am planning on replacing the Adam and Eve portion of the pattern and just adding a whole bunch more animals in its place. The Stitching Owl commented and said, "You've got to put a mud puppy on the chart." And yes, absolutely. I think that is a fantastic idea. So definitely going to be doing that. Thank you so much for that awesome idea. And then I also had a really great comment from Barbara on my Flosstube number 17 saying that placing a kangaroo and an emu in those long, tall spots would be perfect. Kind of like the Australian coat of arms, and I thought that was a fantastic idea. So thank you so much for that. So lots of fun things coming up in the future with this piece, and I will just keep plugging along. So I was able to get a small piece fully finished, and I love how it turned out. So this is Love and Prickles by Lindy Stitches, and this was started around the middle of June. The stitching was finished on June 21st, and then it was fully finished on June 23rd. And I used 18 count moss from my Vintage Needle Arts on Etsy. And this chart was so graciously given to me by my friend Kathy. And I'll make sure to put up a photo of everything that she sent to me, including her wonderful card. So thank you so much, Kathy. I really appreciate it. But I knew that I had to immediately do this one. If you're wondering how I finished this, then you can watch my Flosstube number 19, where I give a sort of vlog style, kind of sort of tutorial on the thought process behind making this. And I really wanted to try fully finishing onto glass, and this seemed like a perfect opportunity to try it out, and I love it. I think it turned out great. I think the really pretty green river rocks really makes the piece very special. So definitely going to keep experimenting with finishes like this in the future for sure. I also had a second fully finished small piece, and this was a gift for my friend who was headed back to Germany. So I don't actually have it with me, but I will of course put up some pictures. So you guys will recognize this as the Northern Cardinal from Prairie Schooler's Prairie Birds. And I thought it was perfect because she was able to actually see cardinals while she was here in Minnesota for a couple months. And I finished stitching the piece on June 26th, and was able to fully finish the piece on June 28th before she left. The fabric is 18 count evergreen by Fiber on a Whim Fabrics, which I love. And I think doing these simple hard ornament finishes are one of my favorite ways to fully finish something, because you can hang them anywhere, you know, on a doorknob, on the edge of your bookshelf, or, you know, if you have an ornament tree, and they just look so classy and simple. So I really enjoy how the custom cording came out as well. And I was able to do 3 rows of cording to fully cover the edge. So much fun, and she loved it, so that made me really happy. And now I am going to be restitching the cardinals for a second time on my own personal piece, where I'm doing all 10 of the designs kind of squished together into one. So more to come on that in the next couple of videos. This next piece that I worked on was a restart of something that I had originally started in the middle of January of this year. And this is called Whale Fields by Mama Witch X Stitch. And I got a really good amount of progress on it. So you can see my little mini start over here, but I don't think I would have ended up having enough room along the edge. So I just started to restart because I wasn't that far in. Working on this, I really got my stitchy bug back, and it was extremely hard to put down. I really enjoyed working on this over the 4th of July holiday, and the colors have just been super fun to work with. So this is being stitched on 18 count pistachio by Fiber on a Whim Fabrics. And the last piece that I worked on was my 100 Owls by Owl Forest Embroidery. And I have really been enjoying getting back to this piece. And I finally made it all the way to the bottom, so that's really exciting. So I started, or rather I finished this big guy right here, and then I moved down to this motif where I also did a couple on the left hand side, and I have a couple more to fill in on the right hand side before I move on to a completely different page. And this is going to be a focus piece of mine because this will be getting finished in 2024. And I cannot wait to get this fully finished and framed beautifully. It's going to look so fantastic. But this was started way back in August of 2021 and is being stitched on an 18 count moss by My Vintage Needle Arts on Etsy. So love it, love how it's turning out. And just so people know, this is actually a free chart that you can download on the Owl Forest Embroidery page, and I will make sure to link that down below for you as well. So I really want to look more into their designs, and their variegated floss looks absolutely incredible to work with, so we'll see. I might have to do some more snooping on their website. But this was the last thing that I worked on since my Flosstube number 18 update, because number 19 was the tutorial. So not as much as I would have hoped, but I am so glad that I finally got my stitchy bug back. Before I jump into acquisitions, I just wanted to say a huge thank you to Joanita from Stitchy Things, where she shouted me out on her episode number 42. And that was such an incredibly kind shout out, and I appreciated it so very much. So thank you, thank you. So definitely go check her out, and I will make sure to link her down below. For acquisitions and stitchy kindness, I of course received that lovely bundle of charts from my friend Kathy, which I so appreciate, and that was such a wonderful gift to open in the mail. So thank you again. And I also decided to buy the infamous ornament tree from Hirschner's, and this was a whole experience in and of itself. So I ended up buying the tree. It came in quickly, but unfortunately it did not have all of the parts included, and the paint was chipping off. So of course I was really disappointed, and I contacted the customer service line, and luckily they sent me a second tree, and this one does have all the parts, so that's good. The only thing is it's a little bit crooked, but I'm sure if I worked with it a little bit and adjusted a few things, I could probably straighten it up a little bit better. But it's fine. I'm just glad that I finally have it. And now that I have it, my next task is that I need to add little hangers onto my little owl pillows that I finished last year. And then they will be ready to be hung up onto this Christmas tree. So I'm so excited. It is going to be looking so cute. And the chart name for these little guys is Owl Faces by Noussa Creations on Etsy, which I will of course link down below. So very excited to get this project fully finished up and displayed. I did want to share a couple freebie charts that I found, and the first one is Choose the Bear from Plastic Little Covers. Absolutely brilliant, and I will most definitely be stitching this one. So if you know, you know, and this will of course be linked down below. But I was also really inspired by Amy from Amy Loves Toads, her last Flosstube, where she showed all of these beautifully stitched butterflies, and she had them floating up her craft wall, and it was absolutely spectacular. So I loved it, and I was able to find this pretty little free butterfly chart on lovecrafts.com and thought that it would be perfect to start my own butterfly and moth wall. So love it, and I will of course have both of them linked down below. Alright, Stitchy friends, that is all that I have for you today. So I hope that you enjoyed today's video, and if you did, please like the video, please comment down below, and check out my Etsy page, which will also be linked. And please follow me at Mud Puppy Stitchery on Instagram to keep an eye on what I'm doing in between videos. So I appreciate you so very much. I hope to see you in about 3 weeks. So take care, do some bird watching, and stitch all of the things. Bye!